Hello, everybody, and welcome back to some more Esea MDL. I say some more. We've not had a great deal of EU, but we're here. We've got a nice little evening coming up. Of course, I'm Scriv. Joining me is going to be Darth Mike, and I'm kind of excited for this one. You were saying a little bit that Havu is not a team you've seen a great deal of being an NA boy, but Prosto I think is starting to make some waves, and Havu would be quite a good opponent for them to kind of prove that they are moving to a higher level, if that makes sense.
It makes a lot of sense. I'm very unfamiliar with both of these squads. It's definitely going to be an introduction to a lot of these players for me, or in terms of their recent level. I haven't seen them play in quite a while in a league setting. Both teams are 1-0 on the season in the MDL right now. Obviously, it's kind of hard to draw conclusions from that, just such a small sample size. You really have no idea what level their opponents are at, or what level they're at relative to that. So this should be an eliminating game. We're going to head right into the pistol round. And Waylander buys nothing. That's interesting. Don't see that very often in the current meta. The save right off the bat in the pistol, but he is going to go ahead and stick with it. And the CT's going to be a little bit limited by that. He is also the lone B-site defender, the World Edit's hedging his bets that direction. And Nickelback getting a quick kill in towards T-Con is going to take a lot of utility away from the T's and also limit their options going through. A Molotov picked up to boot. That's a nice party favor in a pistol round. Post-plant could change dramatically with the Molly available.
Yeah, it's been somewhat of a strange start. I think Nickelback as well getting the complete drop on Saw. He seemed to be caught with his pants around his ankles in T-mid, to be honest, not really knowing what was going on. But yeah, it's a nice opener. It's all kind of slowed down, and that's going to make life difficult. Havu walking into these angles, as we see with Nickelback, pulling the molly out at the wrong time. So it goes back into the hands of the T side now. This molly is staying alive, it seems, and the P2K picked up by Hoodie having a great deal of impact. However, Dimasic, beautiful position from him, gets the drop onto one. Ultimately, this first frag that Prosto found is making the difference, but the Deagle bought for Zori. We're seeing some really interesting choices financially, and it seems to be working out more for the T side than the CT side. Dimasic has got to find the final two players, and he's half HP with no armor. This Deagle's going to make quick work of him. Spin around to find Hoodie, though. This is looking good. Low HP for Zori. It's all going to come down to the positional advantage, but Zori is crisp on the Deagle. 4K coming in from him, and the pistol round going the way of the Finns.
Impressive, without a doubt, for Zori. I think Zori actually picked up that Deagle. I think Zori bought utility early into the round and picked up that Deagle in T-Con after the initial exchange in that part of the map. But well done, well fought for Havu. They are going to take the round, and now a well-earned upgrade to an AK and full utility for Zori as well. They're going to have the 2 rifles, 3 SMGs to battle through here. World Edit does have the Scout, and on Train, I would say the Scout gets a bit of a buff. There's just so many long angles you can hold with it, but Waylander goes straight into the action, so aggressive here, and he's just going to be dropped. They didn't invest majorly into this round. World Edit really the only one taking the economic hit, going down to 350. But you lose your B-site defender 15 seconds into the round. It's not exactly a great start, even with this weaponry. It's going to be challenging for them. The MAC-10s are going to kind of probe here. There's no reason to get too hasty for Havu. They've got all the time in the world, utility to bully with, and then they can close distance with the SMGs. But World Edit, that's exactly how we see the Scout come into play on a map like Train. Back of Old Bomb, he's just going to pepper shots through. Takes Hoodie. That was one of the rifles that will certainly be retrieved, tossed over, recycled. And now with the bomb down, this is going to be a very tough retake. Their one big gun has no armor behind it. No one really has any armor behind them, so they should be fed to the blender rather quickly, and I think they're just going to set up for exits. Exits that may never come, because there's already a player who's secured space out towards T-Con, likely going to catch Yekandar, and just hunt out with his MAC-10, try and find some more kills, try and find some more damage. Dima might catch him off. There's the double take. Spots it, reacts in time. Nicely done here. And that should just about be the last attempt from PRO100 to get much of anything going in this round.
Generally to be expected, though. Yeah, I mean, that's something. And he's finding frags with it as well. Like you said, it's actually not a bad weapon to be pulling into this round. The rest of the team obviously going to buy, but something with a scope, I think World Edit will be happy ultimately with that. And also, gets to hang on to a bit of cash and that kind of thing. Maybe he can upgrade to an AWP in the next round. Obviously, in their minds, they're going to be winning this one, so it will be interesting to see. And it's not a bad buy at all from the CT side to work with. Bit of nade damage coming in early on. I think there's something about Train that's beautiful. I'll hold the point because they're rushing straight out on the T side meanwhile. I was going to make a little bit of analysis about utility. Not going to happen, though. The Finns are angry at the moment. A quick headshot comes in. Dimasic as well, having to be very, very careful. Getting tapped down slightly underneath the train. It does seem to have slowed down, but Havu have got control of that, T half of the A bomb site here, so there's a lot of room for them to work with.
There's been a really interesting decisions early on from PRO100. Nickelback gonna catch 2. This might make us viable as position in the office. Secure at least for the moment, but now they're on site and they are mowing down players around the bomb train. All the action's gonna come in here. Nickelback's been cleared out of the office. Waylander's given his position away. He did get 1 frag. But as soon as position's compromised, they realize what is up. Nice shot from World Edit. Brings it down to the 1v1, and this is viable with the scout. They've still got to plant the bomb, and that's going to leave them exposed. Did he realize? I don't think he did. That he had the bomb accessible. He's going to go ahead and reposition here. Hoodie does have control of that. This is going to come down to the wire without a doubt. They're playing ring around the rosy, but there's the tag. Now Hoodie's so exposed. 28 health, just going to run. Eat his little feet and retreat towards the inner sight. And while he will likely be able to punch in the numbers here, he's only going to have a matter of moments to reposition before this fight comes through. Has the angle just in time and catches World Edit. That round was expensive both ways. So what I was trying to say before all the action went down is that PRO100 has been making really interesting decisions where it seems like every round there's one player, and it's changing which player it is, who's really aggressively pushing something. In the second round save, it was a push into upper B halls. That makes sense. You've just got pistols, you've got close distance. But then in that last round, there was a player who pushed the sandwich smoke on T-Con after the T's were already out of T-Con, which he immediately died as a result. Here's the push from Waylander. This time it works out, pushes up, gets a kill, and just fades back. They just got Deagle, so they had to take some sort of action. So expect to see this. I'm curious to see where else we'll see the aggression come from for PRO100. It definitely seems like the way they want to play train CT side.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of can be a viable way. What is that from Waylander? Oh my god, what a shot. What a shot. And this deco now becomes very dangerous. There's a couple players with armor, but the main thing is, in a round like this, you can play slightly riskier in terms of the rotations. They're stacking the B bomb site a bit more, but the beauty of a map-like train is the speed that you can get back to the outside bomb site as well. So if they get a good read here, ultimately they can just use the numbers to overwhelm. Slowy's tagged down low. The AWP's got to be very, very careful not to miss a single shot, because otherwise suddenly, you find yourself getting spammed down by a Deagle or a couple. So really do need to be careful here on the Havu side with only 40 seconds left and very little map control at all. They get the brown holes, it costs them 2 players, and they decide to back away and not hit the B bomb site. So now they've pretty much got control that they spawn with. Weapon going to be retrieved by Waylander, and somewhat of a flank coming in, albeit a bit of a late flank at this point. Really winding the clock down here as well, Havu. This is not going to be easy. Another quick headshot comes in. There's 2 players over at Hell as well. Really not looking too good. They've got 10 seconds, and yeah, they're just going to save what they've got. Like you had said, that rifle round, even though it went their way, is extremely costly, so they don't have a great deal of money. And nice little individual step up. Prosto doing a really good job of just hiding away and not giving that advantage away. So fantastic first round on the board for them.
That was really clever, and Havu just left themselves no time to clear the angles, right? So that allows the Russian side or the Ukrainian side to compensate, right? As soon as they detect presence outside, it's like, all right, everybody's here. As we said, they're being friskier with their rotations. They're pushing through, and that really comes back to bite them, not having it available, not having the time to slowly clear angles, not having the utility at that point because they've spent it. 5 Deagles, it just becomes so deadly. So this is going to be a flip. It's a huge flip to the economy as well. World Edit already getting started with the op kill. We know how powerful the big green gun can be on this CT side on train, and now that it's out, it's going to be a factor going forward. It's unlikely they'll be able to take that out of his hands without a fight. Almost looks like that T by the wood panel is just giving him a little desperate thumbs up of, hey, that was a good shot, bud. And now it seems like Havu's going to regroup, make either a ladder play or an inner play. They're sending one down ladder to see if he can work a pick. And the rest of the presence does seem like it's going to hit the inner bomb site. But look at the reinforcements. Nickelback and Waylander are here. They're both aggressive. There's not even that passive rotator from Z because they've already got a pick, so they feel pretty comfortable in their default.
Here we go then. The hit towards B going to come through. There's a couple players ready for this, playing quite passively, and it's interesting they're pushing down sidewalk. However, Waylander is ready for it. Not quite the third, but in comes the cavalry to help out. Havu with something a bit unorthodox, a little bit different, trying to overwhelm, I think, with just pure bodies, and it doesn't work out. it's kind of fair enough. I think, especially after losing that initial play, you don't really expect them to win that round. The potential that the AWP particularly had behind it is sort of thrown away because there's no real window of opportunity that shows itself, and your only option is to try and go B. But I feel like maybe, you know, just going for the bomb plant there would have been best case scenario, but okay, we'll see. Slowly double dinking with the Glock. That's slightly awkward for Waylander to deal with, and actually significantly weakens up that B-side defense. The one flash to come over the top, and Nickelback only on the AWP, not really going to be able to deny them. The nade goes in, surely that's going to be huge damage. That is absolutely massive. The bomb going to be mollied as well, and Zori, bless him, not a chance. Hoodie will be the only one left, and he's quickly dealt with. So the Glock train, unfortunately, not going to be successful at all. And a clean 3 rounds in a row from Prosto, starting to build up a bit of cash, bit of confidence, regaining some momentum on this CT side.
Now, educate me here, because I'm an ignorant American and I don't get to cast these teams very often. PRO100 Prosto? Prosto is what you're calling?
I believe it's because 100 in Ukrainian is like Sto, I think.
Gotcha. All right,
Yeah.
Prosto. I'll keep that in mind. I will refer to that correctly going forward. We're out here educating. I'm learning. Learning. Yekindar has a great position here. Gonna catch nobody. Gets mowed down. Thought he'd have them both coming through, or at least one in the tag. But this is actually looking great for Havu. They've gained some space. They've done a ton of damage. Nickelback's gonna have to retreat into the office, but they should have a pretty good idea of his position. This isn't the first time that it's been held. And he's gonna go ahead and fall away, but the kill's coming back through. That double op paying off in dividends. Look at this damage as well. The nade's just dinking them down. The bomb will be planted, but that's about all you can say in their favor. Cleared out the flank now, but the push should come through. They're still smoking 2 flashes on World Edit as well to make this retake possible. Kits aplenty, and there is nothing left to shield the T's from unwanted eyes. They're just going to have to duel this out. Hoodie should have first point of contact playing around the E-box here. It's all going to come down to timing. If he takes down Dima, it's possible. He does indeed. Now it's all on Nickelback, and he's going to retreat. This round is lost. It was looking great for them, but Havu just battled it out. And their Prosta doesn't take trade situations, and so it winds up in a situation where they just lose their 2 flankers, and Nickelback has to bail out.
That's the difficulty, I think, of that outside bomb site, particularly in the sense that kind of once the bomb goes down, it can become a little more T-sided, especially if you're lacking in the utility and the information game, if you don't quite catch where they've run off to after the bomb goes down. And I think that's what we see a little bit there. You know, they spot out one, and then everyone's trying to encroach onto that position, and suddenly there's a second guy peeking out, and, you know, you get your head kind of clapped almost in the sort of fade away shot from E-box that came in onto Dima. So, yeah, a messy one from Prosto for sure, but they're trying to recover it back here. That is some huge nade damage. Slowy still adamant on moving forwards, and the third nade comes in on towards Saw. Hoodie will trade one back, but this is looking really good from the CTs. And that's something I wanted to mention in a round a little bit ago. On the CT side, it kind of, you know, shows a good train team from a great train team is how they use the utility, particularly to do the damage. There's a lot of spots, you know, in towards Ivy, Pop Dog, the Brown Halls, but T-Mid is kind of a big one where you can use that damaging utility, and in this round we see it to an extreme, but a lot of the time a good CT side, every round there'll be like 50 to 100 damage kind of done across the board with HE nades if you know where to put them kind of in tandem with each other as well. So I think it's sort of something that's quite interesting to watch and see whether the CT side is ready with that utility. Talking of ready, in towards the B-bomb side, Waylander one lands on his head. He manages to deal with him. It's going to swing back into a 2-on-2 though. So from the 4-on-3, Havu have done a good job to pull this back.
And as we saw previously, there are flaws in the retake. Now it's just left to Dima. Tries to take the first angle, but his position is red. Nicely done. A 3K for Dodo in the round. It's going to be a 5th on the board for Havu, and considering they're coming in on the T side and Prosta was looking good for a minute there, this is a great result early on. Already 5 rounds on the board and more to roll. This map has definitely become slightly less CT-sided as time has gone on, particularly with the prevalence of the Krieg. But we haven't actually seen that much of the Krieg out from Havu right now. Only slowly picking it up in this round, which is interesting considering the map we're on in current meta. But they'll be up against pistols, so it shouldn't be much of an issue into this round. Waylander's already spotted. They're just going to run him down. At this point, he's gotten a little predictable with playing up close to the B ramp in pistol rounds, getting aggressive. He wanted to push it. They check him at the gate. It's going to be a bomb plant right off the bat. Still a minute 30 left to play. While that bomb goes down, that's just going to be a tough situation. Prosta might try and get something here. Nickelback has the best chance of it with the scout to get a little bit of tag damage, maybe a frag here. But chances are going to be slim. Utility's being used to push some back. There's no reason for Havu to worry about it. They've got plenty. They've got the cash as well. So dump that util. Make sure you're going to get that 6th round on the board. Don't give them a chance to condense angles with those pistols and do you any damage. Just really keep them at arm's length. That's exactly what Havu are doing. You're already seeing Yekendar's just giving it up. He's going to go for the exit all the way back towards D halls, which will take a while to rotate. And the armor on Nickelback and Dima as well as the scout is worth saving. So they're going to go ahead and do that. Keep it alive. Now Havu climbing to a 6th, and it's a nice adjustment. There were a few rounds there where Prosta caught them off guard, and there's been an adjustment now. They're reading the pressure from Waylander, they're reading the aggression, they're reading the setups, and it seems like it's working quite well. You need to see an adjustment out here from Prosta to really change up the formula and maybe catch them off guard once more.
Yeah, definitely, and with that kind of brittle CT economy coming in, it kind of has to be this round, I think, because it is starting to escape them somewhat in places. Talked about the CT side and utility usage. I think it's also worth noting that Train, as a map, you need to have a very heavily prepared T side as well. Otherwise, you know, you talk about, sure, it's not quite as CT side as it used to be, but it definitely can be. It can be one of the most kind of dominating maps in the game for sure. And it looks like Havu have come to play. Although, very quickly moving towards B, it's a little bit of a broken push. The 1-for-1 trade comes in, but these rotations are very fast from the CTs. They needed that change. You know, they make a risky play, and Yakandar coming in from behind at the perfect time should be all good. Bomb plant is going to go down. He's going to peek round. He spots one and picks up both. Very well played. The patience pays off. And it'll all be on to Saw on 31 HP. Not looking too doable. He pushes the molly and unfortunately goes down to the molly. A desperate kind of play that you'd expect him to take in a 1v3. But ultimately, Prosto, off the back of Yakandar, you know, setting him up on the flank, they're able to get a 4th round on the board.
Still a willful decision not to pick up the Krieg. Oh, there we go. Dima gets it. Dima knows. Dima knows the secret, which is that CT Krieg is so powerful. Might just give them a chance to battle it back. It's just so good for holding angles while the T's push. Really can be a game changer here. And the double up's now out. Might be a bit of a swing. That was a good chance for Havu to take a round, but as you said, that well-timed flank just completely unravels all of their plans in the round. And they get disassembled. We're going to see what they've got here. Looks like Ivy presence. We have not seen much out of Ivy yet this game. It has not really been probed. And a quick pick out T-Con is going to change the formula here. There's already a defender down on the outer site. You're seeing that's going to leave Waylander completely alone towards B and might make them a little more timid on the rotate. But look at this response. Yekandar has just pushed right back into T-Con, knowing that they've given it up. He's gained all of this real estate. And he'll be able to hold that. That should be an early warning system. As I say, he'll be able to hold that. Of course, he's going to give it up completely and try ladder instead. That's a nice Molotov to lock a player out of ladder and actually allow you to take control of it. Presumably funnels them into those HEs that you just dropped if you needed to. And now follow-up molly from the CTs to catch them if they did actually want to dip their toes in the water down. It's going to be the IV control, I think, that might indicate where the T side goes in this round. If Slowy catches this pick, it's presumably an outer hit. If not, I think they funnel in towards the B-bomb site. World Edit getting adventurous too. He's trying to catch an elbow and he's going to get a chest shot in there. So that's the Ivy presence gone. That's their flanker out. And Yekandar getting aggressive up into the B halls is going to get caught. That's going to trigger the hit on towards inner. But the op's already in position. They've got 2 so they can keep rotating them. That's going to even up the numbers. Utility, as you said, is deadly here, but that one's not going to land. It's a little bit tough. Huge kill for Waylander and the 3rd as well. He's just spinning around in place. And he's the turret who will defend the site. A 5th on the board for Prosta. Nicely done from Waylander as well.
Yeah, beautiful stuff on that inside bomb. So he's been looking really, really good. Kind of questioned his aggression early on in the game in certain places. But it seems he's kind of checked that aggression and just landing the shot, spraying him down cleanly there. Baiting out his teammates a little bit, but, you know, if it results in a round win, it's all good. Tag comes in onto Saws. I think the bottom of his foot just spotted out. A lot of nade damage coming in once again, and there it is. You know, Saws tagged up. He gets taken down, and everybody has been chipped down slightly. Hoodie will find a quick one onto Dima, but ultimately it looks like to no avail. So things probably going to get evened up to 6-6 here. The question kind of is coming down to, is there going to be any more damage? Oh, well done it. What is going on? How is he still alive? All right, then.
That's a
little
circus
messy.
show if I've ever seen it. It's like the the person on the spinning target while they're throwing knives. That was
Yeah,
basically-
for sure. Oh, man. But a bit of a throwaway round from Havu. Not really expecting a great deal out of that one. Coming into this, though, this is where it's... I don't know. I think 6 rounds on the T side is already good, but they could definitely get more. They could definitely make life easier, right? And they'll be aiming for that. And this is kind of where it gets a bit scarier. Prosto are able to take this one. And again, that utility usage to pick up an early frag. It's going to make life so much easier. The flash is not great. Saw blinds himself up. Leaves his teammate all by himself. And Prosto have really turned it up a gear at this point. Turned the dial up to 11. 5 on 2 very quickly indeed. Spoke a bit too soon. But I think it's going to be hard here for the remaining 2 Havu players to find this round, honestly.
To be completely fair, at this point, Havu have already had a successful T side, right? They've got the 6 on the board. This is fine. They can move into the second half. They'll be comfortable with it. It's just a question of momentum at this point. You've given them so many rounds in a row. If they just are allowed to play this out, and this round, obviously, you're not going to be able to do much about it. You've just got the pistols, presumably in armor, and then you're going to play for one solid round to try and get that 7th on the board in the last. You're giving them such a situation to build confidence and just have that momentum start rolling where they get comfortable in. So it's going to need to be a half switch. If they can hit this last round at the end of the half, do the damage there, say, we're still here, we're still ready to play, and then flip it and take the pistol in the second, they can really stunt Prosto right off the bat. But it's going to be aggression again from Waylander. He's taking upper B halls. He's got to be careful here. There are deagles. As soon as he realizes the situation, he's going to get the heck out of dodge. No reason to get antsy when you know you're just up against pistols. Yakandar, that's just going to tickle. Surprised that nade didn't land a little closer to home, but he will catch a shot through the bottom panel as well. And now they drop right on his face. That's a rifle retrieved. He was playing that bold, and he was boldly punished. So a numbers advantage and an M4 now to work with. This round is not yet gone. We saw the deagles work out once previously. Can it happen again here?
They get some control towards Ivy, or so they think. At least spotting whether anyone is around. That's the main issue for the CT side at the moment. Don't have a great deal of information to work with. So therefore, figuring out where they need to get aggressive or where they need to send a few more CTs to defend is very, very difficult. And they're kind of keeping it up. Flash comes over the top from Slowy. They slowly creep out. They're not going to rush. They understand the opportunity that they've been given here. Not going to throw it away, at least initially. We'll see the superior weaponry and the well-timed peaks from the CT side. That's very lucky. If Demon does get dinked down slightly, Zori on the edge of the smoke is not quite fast enough. Demon's got the drop. Nickelback, meanwhile, has dropped the bomb. All into a 4-on-2. Looking good. Looking like they've retrieved it back, although this is a very edgy fight once again. Wildet, seems to be doing his best Neo impression. Slowy will pick up 2, but unfortunately gets flanked out. So it's a costly one. It's a fairly costly one considering what they've spent. So maybe makes life a bit easier in places, but I don't think so, right? They've got enough of a bank in the form of World Edit, and obviously with it being the final round of the first half, doesn't matter so much if you don't have anything left in the coffers. So Havu, can they make it 7? We'll see.
That's the big question. The bomb plant would have been nice just to give a little bit of extra utility. You see Zori and Slowy are the only ones limited by it, but it's not a big deal. They're just a little bit hampered. Not enough for it to be significant into the round. They're going to try, do the old college try, just try and get this last on the board. And Waylander, once again, this is a new position. We haven't seen him play this yet on this CT side. He's been doing a good job of mixing it up. As we said, he changed his formula from the early aggression he had. And he's been playing a few different off angles and has repeatedly caught Havu off guard with getting either 1 kill or the second, some damage out. And this time it's early utility damage as well. Nade dunk, a little bit of Molotov action. You saw Saw and Dodo already quite low. They're going to be dealing with that throughout the round. That's made Havu a little bit more timid. They're hoping that there's going to be some aggression to play into their hands from the Prosto side, and it just doesn't seem like that's going to be the case. They're being patient. Honestly, this is the most patient round we've probably seen from them yet this half, and it's interesting that it comes this late in.
Yeah, very true. Very true. I think, to be fair, a lot of what has been happening again, though, is they find these early picks handed to them. This time around, it's going to be Havu, as Slowy It's a clean spray. Getting that Ivy control, keeping the CTs guessing. That is a messed up smoke, though, so that's certainly awkward. Flash is coming over the top here. Peeks round from Nickelback, but traded back by the fire. Waylander in on the site is good for one, but again, traded back. This initial advantage is making all the difference. The fight outside is won by Slowy, though. So that Krieg spray down at long range can be very deadly indeed. It is such a versatile weapon. Well, that it is going to be the only one left, and he's easily picked up. So there you go, 8-7 on the half. Havu bring it as close as you possibly can, and looking pretty good there on their T side. So I kind of have high hopes going into their CT side of things.
Yeah, this is a great response from Havu. That little tempo change at the end, as you said, for the pick to be dealt to them. Prosto was patient for a while, but eventually they can't help themselves. They go for a little bit of information, comes back to punish. Now this is going to get very interesting in the half switch. 7 rounds is great, to be quite frank. It's going to take Prosto coming out the gates and really getting started well on their T side for this to have much of an impact here. Havu does have a chance to sell this away. We've got a little bit of a half break here. I was really impressed with the way Waylander was playing that inner sight. He changed up the formula. First couple of rounds, I think we called him out for it. Looked like he was too aggressive, looked like he was getting a little bit one-dimensional, but then quickly changes it up and shows us he's got a few different ways to play that. There was aggression into upper B, there was an aggression B ramp, there was a passive hold off an off angle on the bomb train. He was on one of the trains in the inner yard. He was playing it a bunch of different ways, playing from the spools with op support, and it kept catching Havu off guard. They kept anticipating him in his previous spot, and he was nowhere to be found. So nicely done there. It was a big part of the rounds that Prosta did get. Just wasn't quite enough for a solid CT side.
Yeah, I think maybe taking a little bit too long to get the ball rolling, and the way that it generally kind of works, unless one team is so heavily dominant, is you do get these momentum shifts, right? You get maybe 3 or 4 rounds in a row, and then the opposition go, right, this is the round we have to change something, do something a bit different. We've been playing really passive as a T side. Let's rush in this round, or, something along those lines. And it generally, as we kind of say, catches the opponents off guard because they've changed something in their protocol, in their formula, and they're able to kind of get a bit of momentum back. And we've seen that to perfection here. However, very fast start coming in from Prosto. We'll see how it goes for them. So far, not looking too good. It's Doto up high to pick up 3 on the USP. Crisp headshots. Everybody else wants a piece of the action. It's all going to be down to Nickelback, 666, and unfortunately, I think he is going to need to make some kind of a deal with the devil, sell his soul, because this 1v5 is not looking too good at this point in time. Minute and 15 seconds, no armor, no bomb. I mean, he could probably guess that most of them are outside, but ultimately, it's going to be really, really hard for him.
I think information is the first step of the many he needs. Gets the first shot, so at least there's a little bit of an answer there. They don't get the flawless pistol round, but what a round for Dodo. 4 kills on the pistol, going to enhance his total majorly in the game itself, and now they're tied up. And this is the problem for Prosto. You just didn't get enough done on your CT side. At this point, it's already tied up after the pistol. You're going to have a deco in this one. If you get the Hail Mary of the deco armor, maybe that works out. Once again, we're seeing Waylander save initially. Just get the Zeus, of all things. Love it. Love the decision here. We'll see if it pays off for him. A little bit of aggression if they go for it. Might play right into his electric tipped fingers. But look at this aggression out towards Ivy instead. Slowy has taken complete control. They're all on the other side of the smoke, and they should have a good idea that forward smoke means he wants to get aggressive. But at least for the moment, they're going to have to yield this territory. That's so much space taken out of the map. And he's got support coming from Saw as well. Was just trying to flash for him. Make it seem like the player was coming late. They're going to go for a double push here, I think, in a moment. Nade down. That's chunky damage. You don't want to peek into these angles. The bomb at least is tied up here for a long time. Nickelback sticking around to try and find it. And here's the peek out, but that's the problem. You trade him out with the deagles. You give headshot angles. It gets dangerous. Saw is here to bring back the kills, and they're losing players on the flanks as well. That's the bomb. If he can catch this frag, this round is over, regardless of what Waylander might do. And while he will find the Zeus, props to Waylander, making it happen with the taser. He's now going to have an MP9 to work with, no armor behind it. It's going to make it very difficult to do much of anything remaining in this round.
Yeah, kind of going to have to go for it, though, on that T side. I don't think this is worthy of carrying through to the next round. But, I mean, it's kind of one of those situations. I suppose we'll see what Waylander gets done. I'm kind of banking on the fact that he's not going to get too much done. But it's one of those rounds where keeping the economy kind of modest, but also Havu are going to be happy that they've survived with that bare minimum of 3, kept the rifle in play, and ultimately made relatively quick work. You know, they were the ones initiating the aggression, initiating the plays, and they kind of, you know, came out on top of things. Sure, there was a couple trades back. You'd expect that, like you'd said, with the Deagles, but there was nothing crazy from Prosto. And because they forced into that previous round, just going to have to go for the hard eco here and try and make something work. Maybe just, you know, go for the old body block, rush B, get the bomb down kind of play. And I think they could be happy with that. But Havu looking like they're going to edge ahead here in the second half quite early on.
Really disappointed they didn't play into the dualies. Slowy just says the dualies, which interesting decision. But wants to keep that money above 2K in case this round doesn't go their way or he loses his life. But so much damage done in early. Hoodie's the only one who's even remotely low, and he's going to be holding a very long angle, not one they're likely to check either before he gets some shots out. And meanwhile, for the PRO100 side, at this point, an HE coming through would be a disaster. Fortunately for them, there are no more available for the Havu squad. Well, unfortunately for them, it's looking like Saw kind of wants to push this. And if he does, he's likely going to find some very soft targets for the picking. And at this point, it's just a question of, can Havu funnel these remaining kills to the SMGs to farm up a little bit of extra cash? Zori and Saw, surprised Zori isn't closer up to the action here, because they are the two players who would very much like to take every single one of these kills. Late smoke in, Dima's going to come through that. He is dead. Zori with the sniper, MP7, never mind, that'll work just fine. And Saw, should have heard that, not so quick to respond. Who's going to leave Nickelback up top with the Deagle. 9 HP, and at this point, I think Nickelback's objective might just be to die to the M4. Never mind, take its kill out of there. He will falter to the SMG instead, and that gun can be retrieved, or should be able to. They can't find it in time, so that's a little bit of cost taken away from the other side. They'll have to rebuy a rifle. But still, 4 alive, very effective round for Havu. They can go ahead and get the double up initially. They'll keep the 2 SMGs. The double up should allow them to compensate for that. It's going to be interesting to see. Where do they take the 2 SMGs? Do they get aggressive out towards Ivy again? You'll see players do that sometimes, or an aggressive B-holes push with the SMGs can be effective as well.
Yeah, they are kind of, I wouldn't say known, but they quite like to go for the double up setup almost as often as possible on the Havu side. But it's somewhat surprising. I always like the double up setup to come out when it's like, okay, we've won 3 rounds, we're looking good. Here's the first rifle round. We might, you know, end up losing, or if we end up losing kind of thing, then we pull the double ups. It's something different that Prosto have got to deal with. However, I can kind of get behind it in a scenario where I guess they've got a lot of respect for their opponents. Can't really get behind it when you go walking around the corner with a nade in hand. So you're going to get taken down. That's Ivy control. And yeah, that's the age-old adage of course, it's a smoke, not a brick wall. He was really not expecting Dima to just walk straight through it completely dry. Oh no, and Doto, the timing is off. He shoots the gun a little early, but he still manages to find the frag. So at the very least, it's brought back into a 4-on-4, but it's just so much control here for Prosto that they can really throw the CT side for a loop. However, you know, with that aggression coming in, they have a good amount of information that it's like, right, they're not actually towards the brown holes. Most likely going to be an A hit.
The reaction was a little late here. It wasn't taken advantage, though, for Prosto. They had a chance with a really soft A-bomb site with just an SMG defending, but at this point, the ops are back on the scene. The rifles are here as well. That's the first one caught for Zori from the flank, and while they will secure the bomb train, now they've got to battle it out for it. It's going to be difficult to get this plant through. Zori doesn't want to go around the angle. Missed shot there, missed opportunity. Going to get it done with the Deagle instead. Who needs a rifle when you've got the hand cannon? He'll eventually lose his life on top of the train, but Hoodie's back in position to bring back the frag and secure the round. Havu claim it. They should be able to retrieve the double up as well, although we'll have to go treasure hunting for it. That is Hoodie's job now. He's found them. 2 of the big green guns. They'll be able to keep that alive. They'll be able to keep the majority of the economy rolling. And that's a big round to overcome. That puts them up towards 11. They've now got a 3-round lead. That'll be buys right back and forth by Prosto. There's no reason not to. They've got the cash as a result of the bomb plant. But this is going to get interesting. Hoodie buys a scout. That was a misbuy. Okay, that makes sense. So that's 1,700 flushed down the drain. Might come back to bite them.
Yeah. Those little things can definitely stack up somewhat. But it seemed to be a bit of a miscommunication there from Prosto. When the bomb was going down, Nickelback wasn't aware the player was coming from the other side. It was messy, ultimately. They had the advantage, they didn't work it properly. Oh, this flash is so awkward. Doto not wanting to commit round the corner. Does get one, but I feel like he's even lucky to get a single kill there. They were not blind at all by the time, the face came in. Saw as well is able to survive. Another shot ringing through off the back of the AWP. And again, it's kind of become a messy, messy round, but going the way of Havu. Now, Train is a pretty damn good map for them, but all the same, Prosto, the CIS region, kind of known for having a bit of prowess on Train, and past couple rounds with the rifles have not shown it at all. It comes within 2, but again, because of the earlier advantages in that round, Havu were able to just win it, mathematically speaking, and now have a 4-round lead. I would imagine a bit of a pause from Prosto here. They find themselves with very little money, and the hope dwindling in this game for sure.
I mean, they have yet to get a T-set round, right? It's still early days, theoretically, in the half, but the problem is once you've let that bank build up, we were talking about how important it is to have the utility, both for the CT side to hold them at bay and for the T side to really be able to execute a very definite plan to take some of those advantages away. But at this point, you've had the double op surviving, you've had this cash start to build up. It's not dramatic yet, but there's definitely util available. They're very healthy in their setups. They're not going to really have any problem holding you at bay with Molotovs and smokes. And this is going to get very dangerous indeed. 2 Galils out to allow them utility to try and get on towards the site. But this is where Prosto really is probably going to get their last chance to start to make their mark and damage the economy before it gets out of hand. This starts to swell. If they don't take the kills, it's going to be very dangerous indeed. Slowly going to get the first pick. There's at least a player out towards Olaf and Hell. And Dima catching a pick, swinging out of T-Con might make this a little easier. They've got forward positioning. I don't know if they realize Waylander's spot, but they've completely overlooked Saw. He's going to get one. Does he realize the second? No, he does not in time. Will be traded out. Still good damage done. That allows Hoodie back around the angle, and he'll catch the attempted bomb train defender. This gets very awkward indeed. Lots of kills coming around the edge of smokes. But there's so much information here, and Prosto should be bottled up. It's left to Hoodie and Zori to hang on to this. And Zori, interestingly, has faded off. Maybe didn't see the bomb as of yet, so that bit of information wasn't granted. And here's the repositioning, so it's a good read from Zori. Gonna get aggressive with the AWP. Close up towards the B ramp. Might get overwhelmed here. Does he want to push through this smoke? That's insane. He's going to find the timing, though, and Hoodie might just have the kills regardless. Dima takes that instead. Now it's so very strange around the ladder. And coming up at the wrong time, it's going to be the shotgun op. So definitely not clean. Very expensive, very messy, and strange, to be quite frank, towards the end. But Zori, eventually, with the no-scope shotgun op, will claim the round, and that's 13. And at this point, if they can just keep them rolling, there's only going to be so many opportunities for Prosto to make mark.
Yeah, I don't know, though. It just seems round after round after round. Prosto, we talked about this adaptation, the shifting of momentum and things like that. They're not really changing things up very much. Fast, loose, rely on the individuals or an individual to step up, coming into this round instead of half buying or even just ecoing things down. They've opted to come in with 3 Galils, very little utility. So this is what I was talking about way back when, if you cast your minds back to that first half, where you've got to make sure you have a T side in the bag. There's no real time to make any points, do any analysis, because again, they're just kind of bursting straight out and the round is over just like that. And Prosto are in this situation where they're like, okay, I know like 2 or 3 smokes, but that's about it. So can we just kind of rush in and hope that someone can pop like 4 heads at once or whatever? And Havu, unfortunately, are not a team you can do that against, as they are proving a flawless CT side so far.
Certainly not. Even when it gets close, Havu looks like they're in control. Even in that last one where it theoretically came down to a 1v1, by the time we get to that situation, you know that Havu knows exactly what he's going to do and exactly how to play it out. Now, here's just the aggressive play from Slowy, and well-timed aggression as well, just completely upsets the apple cart of Prosto. They knew exactly what they wanted to do. They go for that double Ivy push. They flash it. Everybody's blind. Prosto is not prepared for this take. And even though they're trying to make a move in towards inner bomb site, it wouldn't have mattered even if they won that kill because they don't have bomb control. None of this matters at this point. Waylander is just looking for one more kill to do a little bit of damage, but finding one is going to get you much. And there's just too many eyeballs on point. It's going to be map point here. They've got 7 map points to take this one through. And based on how effective they've been so far, I think it's probably only going to take 1. I honestly would be surprised if Prosto could get this round. They've looked outplayed at every step of the way since the half switch.
There's just not much more to say, is there? Really? Like, I just think it comes down. There's a lack of depth on this T side of Prosto, and sure they're coming in with more rifles here, and probably one of the better buys they've had in recent memory, with an AWP in play. Unfortunately, perhaps too little, too late. We'll see. Maybe they can save themselves a bit of dignity and find themselves a T side round. Nice shot comes in from World Edit. Slowy showing a bit too much around the corner. Will pay the price. So looking very, very good early on for Prosto. They get Ivy control off the back of it, and Havu tried to respond in kind, getting aggressive into T-Con. However, Nickelback is ready for it, so responding in kind. However, Zori still alive on this AWP. Saw up high, is going to get caught off guard. A lot of damage being done onto some of these players, but the kills going the way of Prosto, and obviously that's what makes the difference. It's all going to be onto Hoodie in a 1-on-4. Don't give him too many chances. Bit of an opportunity to isolate some of the 1v1s, but World Edit going to be smart. Move slowly. They know where he's at. So it looks like going to rotate to B, although I'm not sure if they just spotted him towards Old Bomb. It appears not. And all the timing, Hoodie, is so unfortunate. Waylander had run down the ramp with his knife out. The bomb quickly following it, but Hoodie was not convinced. He's very quickly going to figure that it's B, surely. We'll creep around here and find another one, but I think he takes a bit too much damage there. So the dream of the 1v4, probably all but over, yeah, and he kind of knows it. Just going to back away and save. That's so unlucky. That could have been incredible.
That was a massive opportunity. That's the aspect ratio coming back to bite you. Just should have been able to peek him right out of the corner of his eyes, but had no idea whatsoever. But this is fine, though. He's still killed 3, right? So it's going to limit the economy going forward. It's just going to chip them down. They've got so many attempts to do this. Keeping me up alive is just cautious. You can see there's 7k on Slowy, so they don't really need to do this, but no sense throwing your life away. So we'll go ahead and keep this alive, give them something that they don't have to reinvest into. This is where it gets interesting. So that was the exact same strategy they had run in the previous round, but the previous round they run it with Deagles, right? This time they do the same thing. They run the 3 Ivy, except they've got rifles, and there's not the double Ivy push to check them because they're not going to do it twice in a row. Makes sense. You got to keep that complexity in the playbook for the Havu side. So Prosto catches them as a result of that, takes out the Ivy control, and then they win their duels. And that is really what they're reliant on in terms of these takes, is you've got to win those individual duels. You've got to win those individual fights because there's not a lot of response if it goes against them. Dotu, look at this approach, and this time Slowy catches the first of the draw. It's going to be the second as well, and now it's all falling apart. All they needed was that SMG push up B halls to catch them off guard, change up the pacing, change something. That's what Havu's been doing so very well. And once again, they caught Prosto out. This would be a massive pick. That's the round just about over. That should be the map as well. World Edit now in a 1v5 in a possible situation. They know exactly where he needs to come from. He'll at least grab the first kill, but this should be the signal for the CTs to condense on the spot. Saul going to get forward. Knows he just needs to hold this. Has a Molotov to boot to do it. To bleed time off the clock. And this is just a hopeless situation. This is so very tough for World Edit. This would take an absolute miracle. And that was a chance for the first. I gave him the angle peek, but that's just going to trigger the flank, and he knows they're coming around from some direction. There's too many angles to check, so that's going to be the game. Havu looking like the far superior team, certainly in the second half, but frankly throughout this, in terms of their trained playbook, had an exact plan for how they wanted to do it. They changed up the pacing effectively. They changed up their setups every time they started to get wise to what was going on. Havu just had some other trick of the playbook, and that's really how you want to see train played. So very impressive from the Finnish squad. Very impressive game from them. Prosto, time to go back to the drawing board with your T playbook because they just do not have enough depth there to compete against good teams.
Yeah, for sure. It's something that you need, like I'd said early on train, you need to have that T side prepared. Otherwise, absolute domination and, kind of cursed it a bit, it seems. But that is going to be it for a little while from us. We will be thrown across to a quick break. That puts us right on schedule, nicely enough. And it will be Tricked up against Movistar Riders coming up next. So do be sure to stick